Dear coaches, AI will not replace you. You will become more valuable because of AI if you do it right. AI cannot be the warrior in the arena, my friend, and that is the message I want to talk about today. The ironic thing is, for the message that I'm talking to you about, these images were created by AI, right? That's the ironic thing. But I use my own creative input to come up with the ideas for the prompts, right? So I still use my own creativity, right? So the thing is, AI in many ways is a game changer. It will replace many jobs, like software, for example. A lot of these things, coding wise, we can vibe code things now, or making images. We can have AI create all these beautiful images, right? So yes, AI is game changer in many ways. But the thing is, AI is underrated in many other ways, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. And why it won't replace your authentic based coaching, my friend. And I used a ton of these, images so that I can flow with the story here. But these are beautiful. These are most of them are Midjourney, right? And so specific knowledge is still very valuable. Okay, when there is an infinite amount of information, where the value comes from now is in the selection and the curation. Okay, people just don't have enough time to consume all the information and figure out which one's good and which one's not, right? And there are many nuances to the stuff, right? So with all the information out there, you can probably make a smartphone from scratch with all the freaking information on the internet, right? And so you can collect your own silicon, maybe even your own silicon chip and whatever. You can probably make these stuff from scratch, right? But do you want to actually go out there and try to make your own iPhone? No, right? It's kind of ridiculous if you want to create your own iPhone, right? And so that's why and here's pictures of iPhone and stuff like that. So the value is having already collected all the pieces, the value of Apple and the smartphones that are already built. It's they already built it for you, so you don't have to go out there and put all these pieces together. So it's curating for your specific situation. That's what we are doing as coaches and service providers, right? We provide time compression and info selection, okay? And then we package that in a way that provides a tremendous amount of value, okay? And authenticity. In a world where there's so much fake stuff, so much AI slop, the craving for realness and authenticity will go up, okay? As the supply of fake goes up, realness will become more and more scarce. This is classic supply and demand, right? Therefore, the demand for authenticity will rise and the value will rise for humanness, okay? Community, connection of real people doing real things with real problems and solving real solutions, that will go up and become super valuable, my friend. So AI still cannot replace the sense of community, the sense of group, of belonging, okay? It cannot replace that. It cannot replace the human touch, connection, and competition. Okay, here's the thing. As I said above, connection will become very valuable, right? But even with competition, right? So think about it like this. I don't want to watch another AI playing another AI chess. There's just no interest in that for me. I don't want to watch a freaking AI robot going to a dunk contest with another AI robot. You know what I mean? There's just tickets will not be sold. People still want that humanness, right? So there's no fun, there's no entertainment, there's no personality to that stuff. So what I want to watch is I want to watch Magnus, playing the best in the world, playing the second best in the world. You know what I mean? I don't want to watch. And here's a picture of two people playing chess. You know what I mean? I want to watch two humans playing chess, not two AIs playing chess. I don't want to watch an AI robot basketball shooter versus another basketball robot shooter. You know what I mean? I want to see two humans in a dunk contest, right? That's why we watch these things, for other humans, right? And I want to watch, T1 playing KT in the championship. These are video games, by the way. It's LOL video games matchups. I don't want to watch two AIs playing each other in a video game. That's no fun, dude. That's no fun. and it takes away the hero's journey component out of the equation. Okay, that sense of adventure that we humans crave, it takes that out of the equation and it becomes not relatable anymore, right? And AI cannot replace personality. We all have our unique energetic signature, right? AI just cannot replace that. Like, we all had a unique human life and we have something to share that's very unique, that's story based, right? Even the way you're teaching something, it contains your unique signature. Like, even the way I'm teaching something, like, I have my own ways of teaching you something, right? Like, these stuff, like, you know, even with like the words on like, using Figma board and like the pictures that I'm using, they're just contains my way of teaching it that like AI cannot do. You know what I mean? And it also has my personality, right? And this is just, here's my way of doing things. Like, I like it doing this way, and people just crave that. People just crave that humanness. Like, whatever you teach, like, here's my way of doing it, right? And we like to follow along someone's journey, like someone's origin story. Like, we become a fan that way. Like, we go to people's concert to see them, not a robot. We go to other people's restaurants and want to taste what they made. Like, we want to watch their videos. We follow you because of your personality, right? Like the Tony Robbins of the world, the Alex Hermosis of the world, the Sam Ovens, like the live streamers of the world. They're not going to be replaced or out-competed by AI. Okay, there's like the live component part, the performative part, right? The human art component, personality component. That's why we follow. That's why we watch videos of humans like the Tony Robbins, like the Alex Hermosis of the world. If this interview was done by two AIs, we wouldn't be watching them, you know? Like concerts, people like being performative, performing your art, that is still not going away. We still like that human interaction. We still love being entertained by other humans, going to their concert, seeing like talent in front of our very eyes, right? That's still something we cannot replace with AI. So you got to keep the you alive, okay? And AI, at least not yet, cannot do lateral creativity. Like, AI is really good at pattern recognition, right? But the thing is, a lot of creativity is formed with lateral thinking. So content, especially the way AI does it, it tends to lean towards the median, the average of whatever like data you're feeding it to it, and it becomes like this average of the things, right? So like an ad will tend to look like an ad. Like a generic post about health will tend to look like a generic post about health, right? But when someone looks at an ad and they see that, hey, this is a freaking ad, well, then that's not a good ad. Like, that's not good marketing, right? And if something like is very generic about health, it's not very good. Like, you want to be specific, you want to be unique, okay? So lateral thinking is when you take two pairs of ideas from very different industries, by the way, like very different. And so like, think about like what Elon does, right? Like SpaceX and Tesla. Like, if you didn't know these companies, if you didn't know Elon Musk existed, like a space company and an electric car company, they're very different if you think about it. Like, there's like almost have nothing to do with one another. But then Elon, you know, he became the common denominator, right? And then the thing is, Elon, he's taking one idea from like SpaceX, and then he's saying like, maybe we can apply this to Tesla. You know what I mean? And so he's like lateral thinking, taking, you know, ideas from one industry and then applying it into another. So that's how lateral thinking and creativity becomes involved, right? So he's taking ideas from like space and like, I don't know, rocket engines and applying it to Tesla somehow, and vice versa. And computers and art. Like, think about like computers. Back in the day, it was just like, it was supposed to be like very logical based and very engineering based, but then like Steve Jobs came into the scene and it's like, no, let's incorporate art into it. This is art, this is creativity, right? And so that's the mindset behind Apple, right? And how he started making computers beautiful, right? He started adding like colors to like the computers and everything. And this is supposed to be Steve Jobs, by the way. and like quantum physics and the mind, and like Vadim Zeland, and he had the creativity to come up with like reality transurfing ideas and like the law of attraction ideas and applying quantum physics to it, right? It's very creative. Or how about like computers and like the music world, like instead of making music with instruments like pianos and guitars, like people thought, hey, why don't we start making music with computers, right? And it gave birth to electronic music, right? Or like what I like to teach in Freedom World, it's like I took the ideas from world building, from like building like Disneyland, taking ideas from Disney and Walt and applied it to business. Or like I took ideas from like open world video games and applied marketing to it, or ideas from engineering and applying it to high ticket coaching and like G-Docs and replacing sales calls, right? So pairings that are not common, and it doesn't match the average because it becomes a pattern interrupt. It becomes like this twist, that you put onto it. And this is just hard for AI to cross and make sense of it in a sensible way, right? So that humanness, that groupness, we still cannot replace. And the art lives in the living being. Okay, so think about it like this. Art is an interpretation by the human, right? It's an interpretation as much as it is creation. So think about like a computer program, a computer language, coding language, right? It's communicated very perfectly, right? Because it's interpreted by machines, so it doesn't get it wrong. What it is like pure communication. Art is very different in my opinion. So like a creator communicates imperfectly, okay? And that's where art lives. It lives in the imperfectness. If you think about it that way, right? Art lives in the imperfectness. Stories are interpreted by humans. So a lot of art lies in the miscommunication, okay? The miscommunication. So an example is like when AI wants to reduce something down to a message that can be conveyed. The thing is, if an artist wants to say a message, they could have just said the message. But there's an artistic component, like a story component to it, that you can't just tell like a beautiful story, or I guess you can, but then it's hard to do in just like one sentence. You need more story. So it's not just the message the artist goes after, it's the story, the emotion, not just the breadth, but the depth of the characters, the storyline, the timelines, the parallel realities that's going on. So a machine does code and it's interpreted perfectly, whereas an artist, there is some sort of miscommunication, and sometimes that is where the value lies, in the miscommunication. That is where the art lies, my friend. The audience takes that story and creates a world with the help of the creator. It's a world where they create with their own interpretation, my friend. And how about emotion? AI will never know emotion, right? At least not yet. Maybe in the future we have biological beings, who knows? But it will never know that feeling of freaking tiredness, of like, God, I don't want to make this video like what I did today, like, oh man, not wanting to do it but doing it anyways. It will never know that feeling, right? That the feeling of the hero's journey, of like, I don't want to take on this journey. It's like the refusal of the call, as Joseph Campbell says it, but then we heed to that calling anyways, right? The struggle, the resistance, I don't know what to write about today. I don't want to record a video today. We resonate with that because it's relatable. It will never know that feeling, right? An opinion, like you are a human because you have a damn opinion on something. Yeah, it makes your ideas deadly and dangerous in the best freaking way possible. Your perspective becomes even more sexy. It's a fucking attractant because it is opinionated. People flock to it because it's edgy, because you stand by it and stand for it. You stand for those ideas. This is your opinion, your ideas, and it's a hill that you will die on. It's a hill that you will defend. The AI cannot do that. People flock to it because it's edgy, because you stand for it and by it. AI doesn't have an opinion. AI doesn't know the values to stand for or what causes to stand for. It cannot be in the arena, my friend. Like, we are warriors inside of the arena. AI will never walk the talk. It will never know what it feels to be inside that arena. All the errors, the shortcomings, the dust, the sweat, and blood. Like the famous speech of the man in the arena. It cannot do that. It cannot smell human sweat. It cannot be bled. Right? And I have some amazing pictures of people just going through that struggle. It doesn't know that. It doesn't know the feelings, the struggles of resistance, and then you failing and then finally getting to victory. You'll never know that feeling. No, it cannot feel the collapse after collapse, the feeling of failing, and at least failing while daring greatly, followed by that glorious, epic rise, that feeling of an inner shouting from deep down inside. It doesn't have the experience of a fucking victor like humans do, my friend. You'll never know that feeling of elation, that triumph, that victory. It never knows the feeling of that sweet, sweet arena. Tasting the bitterness first, bitterness after bitterness after bitterness before arriving to the sweet, and then being in that sweet, sweet arena, my friend. There are no hills to die on for the AI, no ideas to stand for. The feeling of triumph, the feeling of being lost, the feeling of hope, doesn't know that. Doesn't have the feeling of resonance, the deep connection, the moments of feeling truly alive, right? It's the journey to Mordor from Lord of the Rings. It's not just a physical journey, it's a journey of inspiration, a journey of hope. It's the journey of once in a lifetime of human adventure. That's what the journey is. It's an adventure. It will never replace the sense of adventure, my friend. It's the journey of also fellowship, right? The fellowship of the ring doesn't happen without the fucking fellowship, the deep friendships in life. And it's about being on the adventure together with others, right? Creating that connection, because the deep friendships in life, my friend, all the libraries in the world cannot replace not even a moment of intimate exchanges with the dear humans in my life that I've experienced. AI can never do that. No matter how many LLMs and data you give it, it will not replace a single moment of intimate exchanges with dear humans in my life. And if ever AI does replace me, then I think I fucking deserve it, because I am not being human enough. I cannot have the unapologetic self-expression. You cannot out David, because there are hills that I stand on, the adventures I feel, the connections I make, and the emotions I fucking convey. Have AI try replace that, because it cannot. And that is what it cannot replace, my friend. Your authenticity, your connection with another human being, the journey, the adventure, and the sense of being alive, my friend.